Good morning, Yasha Allah. 12 tribes around the earth. And I suppose we can include the citizens of the world. It is a matter that concerns us exclusively as the 12 tribes. But we can share, certain information with our brothers or our other citizens of the earth. That will cover it. Because you know that the Most High created or formed upon the earth many nations, and he has made of one man with his wife. He has made all the nations of the earth. So, we are in a common ground as dwellers on the earth. Anyway, we come to you with a lesson having our opening verse of scripture from Isaiah chapter 14. And we look at verse 10 is the key verse we got here. But we'll start from verse 9, Isaiah chapter 14. And we start from verse 9. The grave from beneath is excited about you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you. All of the chief ones of the earth. It has stirred up from their thrones all the sovereigns of the Gentiles. All of them respond and say to you, have you also become weak as we? Have you become like us? And going on, it says, your arrogance has been brought down to the grave, and the sound of your stringed instruments. The maggot is spread under you, and worms over you. And verse 12 takes it a little bit further, saying, how have you fallen from the heavens, O Hallel? Another translation says, O Lucifer, son of the morning. You have been cut down to the ground, you who laid low the Gentiles. For you have said in your heart, let me go up to the heavens, let me raise my throne above the throne, above the stars of Al-Hayam, and let me sit in the mount of meeting on the sides of the north. Now, this mount of meeting that is put forth here is a place. And it says it is a meeting place. And when we think about the ministry of Hamashiach, our Malach, we see that in the outdoors, he taught the people from certain positions of elevation. They would sit in group or groups, and he would go to a point of elevation to teach them. So from that point of elevation, his voice would carry all over the crowd. And this would give you a view of the amount of congregation where he takes his high position, that his voice could be carried to all the people. Such a place, such a venue, we see the one called Hallel, or Lucifer, Satan, desire to have as his standing ground, as though he would come to the position of ruling, of rulership, I might say, in the new earth, to have access to such a place as a mount of congregation to teach the masses, to teach the citizens who would be, duty bound, I might say. Under orders is another way of putting it, to come to this mount of congregation and to hear from the chief, from the master of ceremonies. And the master of ceremonies in this case would be the absolute ruler, teaching the people under his charge, under his command, under his schooling. They would be learning from his teachings, the Torah of kingdom. This is what the amount of the congregation is all about. And here you have Hallel, or Lucifer, taking the view of such a one in the coming kingdom, being entrusted. I mean, it would be his prerogative to hold such a commanding position. As chief, it is his duty. It would be his duty to call together the congregation, to teach them the Torah of the Most High, like the Most High Yahweh taught them from the mountain. When he gave the Torah to Moshe, they were around the mountain. Remember that? And when he spoke to them, they were all trembling and hiding. And they said, "Oh, Moshe, please, don't let him talk to us. No, we can't take it. You hear from him. Listen to what he says and come back and tell us." Such is the power of the voice coming from the mountain, from the mount of the congregation. And so we see here that Gadriel, the fallen one, lusts for this position, to be in the place of authority, to command the citizens who supposedly in his mind would be the citizens coming together after the close of all these matters of wars and whatever have you, but coming to a close, and to view the consummation of all things. Let's take that view. At the consummation of all things, all the wars for dominance and position of supreme power, he puts forward the view that he's going to have this place, the mount of the congregation, to teach all the citizens under his purview, because he going to be the absolute ruler to teach Torah, the Torah of wickedness to everybody. This is the view that the scripture is giving you here. So I want to throw that out to you. Take it. And so I think you get a really good understanding of the mind of Gadriel, who was thrust out of the Shamayim by the power of the one that he was opposing. and having been thrust out by the one who he was opposing, he yet had the view that he would come back and take over the throne and the kingdom and have this position to command the masses from the mount of the congregation. That was the elevation of the master teacher. All right, we can move on from there. So let's look at Revelation chapter 11. Revelation chapter 11, verse 14 and 15. We'll read it briefly. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So quickly, let me add with the commentary that this third woe is as a result of verse 15. It says, and the seventh Malachim sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our master, our chief, the Most High Yahweh, and his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. This is said when the seventh Malachim blasts off. You know, there are 7 Malachims that are sounding off. And let's look at the 7th Malachim here a little bit more. Let's see something about the 7th Malachim. Our scriptures show us that in the days of the voice of the seventh Malachim, I'm looking for it. I know it, but I have a little bit of difficulty right at the moment finding it. But it says, in the days of the voice or the sounding of the seventh Malachim that we were just looking at, that the mystery of Al-Hayam should be finished. That's the voice I needed to get in. Couldn't find it right away in my excitement. The voice is right here, right close to me, but I'm having difficulty pinpointing it. But I think you know the verse. In the days of the seventh Malachim, when he begins to sound, when he begins to blow, the mystery of Al-Hayam should be finished, as he has declared to his servants, the prophets. All right. We're speaking of the sealing 12 tribes in particular. And we want to show you a view with regards to the sealing that is brought out to our understanding from the birthright situation that we have been teaching about at length, this birthright matter between Esau and Jacob, Yaakov, that has been of dispute for such a long time. And one thing I want to say about this birthright matter, I want to bring your mind to the present day. And in your mind, I want you to hear some of the commentary going on in North America today, to now. And then some of those commentary, many of those commentary. I mean, it's an ongoing matter. The pronouncement that is being made in what we might call race confrontation, where you hear the complaint that the Edomite is waging war on the matter of privilege. Remember that word, privilege? I know you know that word. It's on the mouths, in the mouths of the Edomite. I mean, it's like their watchword, that they have privilege. So I want to show you the understanding of what privilege means. And I put it simply to you that privilege is a synonym, my word, a synonym for birthright. That's what the claim is. When they say they have privilege, they're talking about birthright. And they're giving you a word that camouflages their, you know, the root principle behind their rising up and causing turmoil and brutality, with particular reference to North America itself. And of course, you know, all the places where the Edomites dwell that are high-powered communities, England and such place, UK, you know, they have this word in their mouth, privilege, and it means birthright. And they're talking about the birthright that was offered to Edom, Esau, that he threw away. And one of the interesting things about this birthright situation is that it was put aside by Esau himself. And I believe many of you In all the listening audience, many of you will, I think you might agree with me. And if you have sound thinking, you should agree with me that in the rewriting, in the restatement of scriptural offerings, we could put translation in the place of offering in the translations of the scriptures that Esau has done. Something was done with this. Something happened with this story of Esau and Yaakov to hide the full understanding of the birthright situation. And there's a slant caused by the missing parts of the story. This missing part that lends to Esau's putting forth of himself as the one who inherits the birthright and the blessings with the birthright. Well, we know that our father, Yitzhak, sliced off a small piece of the birthright. Now, this was the birthright that Esau rejected. He didn't want. But he came crying, bickering about birthright, that it was no longer his after he sold it. And so our father, you go and read the story from Bereshit chapter 25, 26, and 27, thereabout. You see where our father, Yitzhak, cuts off a piece of the birthright. And I don't want to use the word toss, but this fellow's crying so much about this birthright thing. Let's give him a little piece of it. That's what happened. And with that little piece, Esau has turned the world upside down himself. But we come back to the main issue is that essentially the scriptures declare that Yaakov, Jacob, got the real essence of the birthright. And in the house of Jacob, Yaakov, was born thousands of years into the future, was born the principal offering of the birthright. That was the Mashiach. And so whereas Edom has continued now, because of that little piece of the birthright he had gotten to stop the noise that he was making, he has gone about to take possession of the land. That is the sole right of the Mashiach as the principal offering, the birthright. This has been the issue at hand for a long time, until today. And well, let me back up a little bit. Because of that little piece of blessing that he got for his boo-hooing and crying, he has ascended to the level of complete ownership and disregard for the Most High. Imagine that. Disregard the Most High. Got the power to slap you down in a minute, you'll not be able to get up. Well, he's standing in the face of the Most High and in the face of the Mashiach, that the Most High told Yash'Allah in the book of Exodus, I believe it is, be careful of my Malachim, that is called the Malachim of Yah, whom he sent to guide Yasha'Allah through the wilderness. He said, be careful of him and obey what he tell you. Because it'll be hard, it'll be rough for you if you don't obey him. He'll mess you up. This is what he told the children of Yasha'Allah. In the wilderness, he spoke to them, said, be careful, I'm going to send my Malachim with you. That was the Mashiach before he became in the human birth. Be careful and obey him. He's not gonna have pity on your transgression. He'll mash you up and talk to you later. This is the one that was coming in the birthright blessing to Yaakov, to Jacob. And so if this command of caution was offered to Moshe and the children of Yasha'Allah in the wilderness, how about the back talking of Edom now? Say what he would do and what must be done for him concerning his view of things in the face of the one whom the Most High said, be careful and don't make him angry, because he won't pardon. He will destroy you. This is the same one who became the principal offering of the birthright situation, Mashiach, the word of power, Most High. This is one who presented himself in all lowliness as the chief offering of the birthright that Esau despised, didn't want anything to do with it. And now turns around to raise all this hell in the world. Millions, billions, vanish off the face of the earth, destroyed because of Esau contention about birthright. And the birthright offering has been sacrificed, destroyed by Edom, whereof the Nicene Creed has it as written in stone for Rome. Who is Edom? In the face of all of that, we have yet Edom raising this cry after the conditions have been met for the realization of his vision to destroy the birthright offering of the Most High Yah. Remember the Malachim of Yah that Yasha'Allah was questioned about in the wilderness. Be careful, don't make him mad. To obey him, otherwise he'll fix your business. So what will we think about Edom now, who is in the face of this same one that the Most High warns Yasha'Allah about? Tread carefully with him. What do you think is going to happen with Edom for making this stance against the birthright offering? That is the Mashiach, the same Malachim of Yah in the wilderness with Moshe and the children of Yasha'Allah, whom they were cautioned to obey his voice and don't make him mad. Otherwise, you fix your business. You think Edom's business is beyond fixing? Anyone in the world, in all the nations, you think Edom's business is beyond fixing? Or beyond being, weighed, beyond being checked into to see, get an understanding of whether or not Edom has been righteous, has obeyed Torah, and how was his manner of life? What obedience has he given? What works of righteousness have he done? Has he disturbed the peace of the one Yasha'Allah was told to be careful not to disobey? I think this is an important point of view to raise for the attention of the whole world. That if the Most High could tell the 12 tribes in the wilderness, be careful how you deal with the Malachim of my presence, who was the Mashiach before he came into human birth. You think he has changed? You think he has lost some ability? As the Lamb of Abba Yah, to take away the sin of the world, you think he has lost some ability? All right. So I wanted to bring to you, as we have done, the view of this wrangling in North America about privilege. And now you see where it is tied to. You see where this with the understanding, the root understanding for this thrashing about of the word privilege coming from Edom in North America in particular is another word for birthright. That's what they're claiming still. And now we are in the sealing time that is making that difference, showing whom the birthrights owners really are. Because it says that the Most High, Yahweh, the maker of heaven and earth, is sealing these people. And in sealing these people, he is extricating or setting aside some other people. And Edom happens to be included in those who are being set aside, no doubt. Though the Adventist Church, with Ellen, whoever she was, sought to make a claim at Yom Kippur to be the people that were being cited for special privilege from the Most High. They have in their own writings something called the Great Disappointment. Put that along with the sealing. There ain't no disappointment. 12 tribes. 12 tribes of Yasha Allah sealed. All right. So the big idea at issue is that the proposition of the mark of the beast, what is it about? I think you should find it very interesting that the mark of the beast is about Satan's contention over the birthright given to Yaakov, whose principal offering or the headship of the birthright offering is a Mashiach. And Esau has presented no such one as the Mashiach. They have tried. As we look through history, we can see where they have tried to make an insertion through this thing we call religion to, cut a section out of their quest for total domination of 12 tribes. They tried to cut out a place where they would use a hidden view of the Mashiach and slice it into their theology, in the Roman Catholic theology. Well, they call it Jesus Christ. That's what they did. And they had it so pretty up. I mean that they deceived themselves into thinking that they are the people whom the Most High references when he talks about the sealing. They deceive themselves completely. And, a part of the root reason why they took so wholeheartedly to deceive themselves was because that when they witnessed the resurrection of the Mashiach and remembering the torture they put him through because of their forefathers' pronouncement that he was going to destroy Yaakov and his rejection of the birthright and his quest was to destroy the birthright that was indeed offered to Yaakov or Jacob, whose principal head was the Mashiach when he came in the days of Pilate and Herod. And so after the crucifixion, resurrection, they were spellbound by the awesome power of the one that was the chief offering of the birthright, the true birthright was given to Yaakov. And they sought to align themselves with the principal head of this birthright offering. But they couldn't help themselves because they're so dedicated to the work of Satan and trying to get worship for Satan that they connected the Mashiach by perverted teaching called Christianity. They tried to insert the Mashiach in there, present it to the world, especially to the 12 tribes, that this would help them to get worship for Satan. This was the quest that they were on, as committed to them by Satan, because he wanted the whole world, particularly the 12 tribes, worship him. This was the quest behind it. And so you got that point that seeking the worship of Satan was why Christianity was brought to life. And I might add too that another reason that drove Edom and Rome to build this Christianity off of the view of the love of the Mashiach for his people and their love for him, even though they put up such a rebellion against him from time to time during the course of the relationship, during the course of the period of time it took to develop the 12 tribes and to secure the type of relationship, the kind of relationship that should be had between the principal head of the birthright offering, that was the Mashiach. It took some time for the Most High to get the Mashiach and his people. These were the people of the birthright offering, 12 tribes. It took some time for their relationship to be sorted out by the Most High Yahweh. And so you see all that to the Most High, turning away from the Most High, breaking fellowship, all the idolatry. And of course, Edom was right on hand to make sure that they get poisoned with idolatry and lose contact and be butchered along the way to Mashiach being born in Jerusalem in the days of Herod the king and Pilate. who sought to destroy him at his birth. He was the principal offering of the birthright in Bereshith. And so I want to show you by the Ruach where all this quest to get worship for Satan. This is the quest of Edom. We showed you over and over, but we bring it in some other concrete wording to help you understand from the scriptures now. We look at the offering of the mark of the beast. Well, what is that about? In your view, what is that about? Well, I'll help you from what the Ruach has disclosed to me. The mark of the beast situation is about Satan's effort to reduce the quality of relationships in the earth to get the whole world to be cornered into a position of poverty and inability for individuals and families to take care of themselves and have a quality of life. This is to mimic the false view that Esau was disadvantaged when he gave up the birthright. This is what it's about. It's presenting the view that Esau was disadvantaged and all kind of advantage was taken of him in this birthright situation. So now Satan is going to reorder and reproduce the birthright situation between Esau and Yaakov. Satan is manufacturing a replica of the time of life between Yaakov and Esau, to say that Esau was in an impoverished position, and then Yaakov took advantage of him and so got the birthright. That's the reason for the mark of the beast. Satan reducing the world to the position of poverty to mimic his view of what it was like, what the times were like, and what economics were like when Esau sold his birthright to Yaakov. That's what the mark of the beast scenario is all about. I'm repeating it. Satan manufacturing, bringing to light what should be considered a replica. This is the way it was in the time of the birthright offering. The birthright was taken away, stolen from Esau. It was ripped away from Esau. That's the view that Satan is presenting to the whole world in the quest for the mark of the beast. And it's, highly interesting that Levi is a part of the bringing to perfection this replica of a societal understanding for what was happening between Esau and Yaakov. Brings us back to what the Ruach was showing us about the birthright the birthright scenario in which Esau has tampered with the scriptures and deleted portions of the story so that the general view could be had of all the particulars in the story of Jacob and Esau, their control of the scriptures and Esau's Catholic Church, stripped the story out of Bereshith and put in this little piece that would tug at your heart to say, oh man, they really took advantage of Esau. Esau was a man, a wild game hunter, took care of himself. How come Yaakov has to have responsibility for him? You see, Esau's lack of care for the things, for the matters that concerns value of life. Not concerned about it, but someone else was provided for him so he could throw his leg up and, poison the air. This has been his manner all the while. And Gadriel, Satan, in this end of time, is coming to reproduce as what we call the mark of the beast. Esau and Levi are working together with Satan to bring a view to the world that this is how it was in the time of the birthright offering. Everybody took advantage of Esau when he was down and out. So now we're going to bring you down and out. We're going to make it difficult or impossible for you to feed yourself so that you could face the temptation of letting go of everything to give Esau privilege. That's his word. That's his word, privilege. He was privileged. You're getting an understanding now of what the mark of the beast is about. The same quest to give Esau a birthright and Satan worship. All right, you remember the thing of the vow of poverty that the Catholic Church has so how should I put it? I don't want to use no big words, but the Catholic Church was successful in setting up this thing called the vow of poverty. All that is about seeking to get privilege for Esau, to say that he was wrong. For not getting the birthright he despised. That's what it's all about. And of course, to give glory to the one who would bring this to pass for the whole world, so that Esau should be lifted to the heights of acceptance concerning the birthright. I know it seems like a far-fetched scenario, but now you are able to connect it and see how true it is. And though it was far-fetched for centuries of time, the Ruach of the Most High, Spirit of Hamashiach, the one whom Esau made attempts to trample from the time the birthright was offered to Yaakov, bringing forth the revelation for you, as you could see. Although so many are going to do the usual, turn a deaf ear to it. But Esau got to turn a deaf ear to it. but because it concerns him so much that these events are happening because of the birthright issue. He therefore must listen, even though he don't want to. It's about his birthright privilege, his privilege. This is what the mark of the beast is coming, has been set up to secure privilege, the watchword in North America. Yep. Mark of the beast is to communicate to you that Esau was robbed in the birthright offering, and therefore all the world must pay. All the world must pay for his being, in their view, in Satan's view, and in Esau's view, all the world must pay for this robbery of Esau, that he should not have the birthright. Can you really see that? I mean, I know it's far-fetched. I know it's you call it deep now because you see the truth about it. This is what the mark of the beast is about, to secure privilege for Esau. Privilege he didn't want, threw away. And I think now that we have cleared that, we have given you, I believe, enough food for thought at this moment. If in any other thing, we need to advise you by the help of the Ruach and his direction, we'll do so. Until next time, Yasha Allah, may the Most High bless, keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, give you peace, shalom, for his name's sake. So let it be.